Jealous wife demanded an open marriage, cheated with her ex, and stalked me when I moved on. Now she wants to close our marriage. I, 39M, and my 37F wife have been married for 15 years. Our 2 children are a boy aged 12 and a 14-year-old girl. My wife came to me roughly 1.5 years ago requesting an open marriage. She claims she wanted to see more and was bored with just us. Since I really think marriage is between 2 people, I was quite against this. My wife had only been with me, while I had 5 sexual partners at the same time we were getting married. She made it plain that she was ready to file for divorce or that we open things up. Neither of us wanted that, so I consented under specific conditions. None brought back to the house, we don't discuss partners, the kids don't know, family doesn't know, all partners are tested ahead of time, none that we both know, etc. My wife went out and did not return until 4 a.m., so my strong suspicion that she had someone in mind was validated 24 hours after we decided. I wanted to save my marriage, but I was really not good with it and found it difficult. Last May I ran across Amber. Together our daughters are in the marching band. Amber is divorced and has no desire in getting married once again. She does have once, like everyone else on the planet. 5 months after the marriage opened, I started sleeping with Amber. Though initially it felt like cheating, really it's good to have something no strings where neither of us wants it to move forward. I grew at ease with the notion that my wife and I could satisfy our desires both inside and outside of our marriage over time. We were far happier and our sex life was indeed far more passionate. In April, amid the coronavirus, my wife and her sidemate, who I never met, stopped seeing each other. From what I understand, his wife is unaware and it was difficult to get away even though he is in an open marriage. We helped plan a fantastic Zoom concert for the band students in May. Though my wife met Amber for the first time, well, I believe Amber has been open with a couple of the mothers since it came back to my wife that Amber was her outside partner. As we both know Amber, my wife told me I had to call it quits with her. I turned down, pointing out that neither of us know her ahead of time and that our meeting followed the guidelines we set. She has told me several times over the past month that she is unhappy with me sleeping with Amber and that I should call off the arrangement. Remember that she was good for a year while she was with her boyfriend. She came to me this weekend and said she wanted to reopen our marriage under closure. I told her I was open to that as long as we decided it would stay closed going forward. She agreed that she wants that as well, that she doesn't need any more partners, and that she would be content with just me. We might agree to dissolve the marriage under 2 conditions, the first I mentioned above, and the second I wanted her to sign a document waiving spousal support should divorce come about. She started to flip. She flatly refused to even give that any thought. Since we married, my wife hasn't worked. If she signed, she suggested, I could keep seeing Amber and leave her empty-handed. I told her I would be ready to add a list of mutually agreed-upon events, including adultery on my side, wherein the agreement would be worthless. She claims it's not open for conversation and she won't be left with nothing or kept cheated on when I choose to leave her for Amber. I pointed out that she came up with this entire thing and that I merely followed her to keep our marriage strong. She believes that should we fail to close the marriage, it would as well be over. I informed her I would not put up with being threatened with divorce each time her demand was denied. She thinks I should concentrate on us and I'm acting dramatically. Should I agree to be free from conditions? As we both agreed it was only physical, I know there is no future with Amber. Even though I know I'm keeping my ground, I feel like I'm blowing apart my marriage over a dead end. Simultaneously, I doubt Amber at all is the focus here. Update 1. As a result of what several of you have mentioned in this thread, I called Amber this morning, reminded her that we were supposed to keep things confidential, and inquired about the person with whom she had disclosed the specifics of our romantic relationship. I didn't get the impression that she was lying when she denied that she had told anyone about it. After retrieving the history of my wife's Google timeline, I found out that she had followed me to Amber's residence in the month of April using Google. After following me, she purposefully presented herself to Amber in order to provoke a conflict between the two of them. I was under the impression that she was interested in forming a relationship with the band's parents, but it turned out that she was just interested in attempting to stop things with my outside partner. Just at this time, I am completely at a loss for what to do. Comments. Al Frosty. I have a sneaking suspicion that your wife has flipped. She has no intention of remaining with you for an extended period of time. Of course, it is just what I was thinking. Believe me when I say that I have no intention of causing her financial hardship. She is considering the possibility that she is so confident in us at this point that she is prepared to put an end to things. What about a year or 2 from now, when she makes the decision that she wants someone else and decides that she wants to open things up again? What about that? In the event that she wants it both ways, I will not allow myself to be blackmailed with the threat of divorce. I am John Miller. Already, your marriage has come to an end. All the best. OP, I am beginning to understand that completely. She is not the same person I married, and I despise the fact that she is. Lady Magpie, the fact that he is in an open marriage causes his wife to be oblivious of his infidelity. Therefore, he is simply cheating on her. OP, yes, it seems like my wife had the impression that it was open. He informed her that it was actually the case, and that he was simply playing a game with his wife without her awareness. Regarding the question of whether or not his wife still desired to end the marriage and whether or not the divorce will still take place, my initial inquiry was whether or not she would be willing to consent to the fact that once it was closed, it would remain closed. In the event that we were to divorce, I then inquired as to whether or not she would be ready to forego spousal support. To be more explicit, I inquired as to whether or not she would be willing to waive it only in certain circumstances, such as when she cheated on me or when I refused to reconsider the marriage. She refused to engage in conversation about it. When I think about it, I don't want to be in a scenario where, 6 months from now, her outside partner wants to start over, or she sees someone else she's interested in and decides to threaten me with divorce once more if I don't open up the marriage again. There is no way that I intend to take advantage of her financially. When I asked her for a guarantee that she wouldn't ask me that question again, I was curious to see how she would respond to my request. The fact that she was not willing to put her money where her mouth was made very evident by her response. When it came to how he first met Amber, Amber was introduced to me by the band parents. Only in the band do our daughters share a close relationship with one another. It is not my wife's thing to be involved in a band, so she did not participate in any way. As she was looking for things to do while the quarantine was in effect, she came to the conclusion that she would want to assist with the concert. Should I have responded with, "No, you can't because my outside partner is a band mom and I don't want you involved in that circle"? If so, what would have been the appropriate response? She did not belong to my wife's group of friends. There was no involvement of my wife in the band until the month of May, which was a full year after I began seeing Amber. Upon further investigation, it was discovered that there was a very particular reason why my wife made the abrupt decision to become associated with the band. My relationship with Amber began in May of 2019, and she has been happily married to her boyfriend since December of 2018. Update 2. To briefly summarize, my wife expressed her desire to have an open marriage to me. While I did agree with her when she informed me that she was getting ready to file for divorce. While it took me a few months, she was able to find an outside partner in just 24 hours. The relationship between her and her partner ended. In an effort to coerce me into ending my relationship, she followed me around and introduced herself to my boyfriend. Following the failure of that strategy, she made the decision to seek that the marriage be terminated once more. The constraints that I imposed on it were ones that she was unwilling to accept. I am now moving on to the final month, which has been a really challenging month. After learning about the stalking, I confronted my wife. When I brought up her location history, she initially disputed it, but then I brought it up again. The attempt to deflect was made by her, and she claimed that I had invaded her private. Nevertheless, I did not accept the bait. At long last, she revealed that she did not enjoy the fact that I had someone on the side when she did not, and that a mother at the school made her feel as though she was too close to home. I made a deal with Amber that I would end our relationship if she committed to attending counseling, permanently ending the marriage, and beginning the process of looking for a job to assist with the costs of maintaining the household. It was her response that she is a mother who stays at home. I informed her that it was something that we may discuss again when the coronavirus has passed, but that if things return to normal, she will not be able to simply remain at home. We participated in a few sessions of therapy, and at first, everything went swimmingly. In addition to challenging her to explain why she had followed me, the therapist inquired as to the reason she believed it was necessary for her to leave the marriage, and she was required to address virtually everything that was going through my head. The situation then deteriorated. She stated that her outside partner was someone from her past, specifically a boyfriend from her high school years. Prior to anything happening, they had split up and then reconciled with one another. As a result of her sadness that she had not been able to accompany him throughout high school, she made the decision that she wanted to fulfill that goal. I was enraged by that. In the same way that my choice of a mother from school was too close to home, I warned her that her choice of a married ex-boyfriend was entirely contrary to the standards of appropriate behavior. My response to her was that I didn't even want to look at her. Because I didn't want my children to see me in such a state, I moved into a hotel room to get some much-needed rest. I was there for a few days with my family. Following that, I made the decision to return to my house and deal with the remnants of my marriage. I was surprised to see that my daughter, who is just 14 years old, was acting in a manner that was abnormally cold toward me when I arrived home. Quite dismissive was her demeanor. When I asked her what was going on, she proceeded to accuse me of having an affair with a band mom while she was with my mother. When I questioned her where she became aware of this information, she initially refused to tell me, claiming that it was irrelevant. However, she eventually acknowledged that her mother had informed her that I had been staying at the residence of my girlfriend after I had left. I informed her that it wasn't true, showed her the receipt for the hotel that was on my phone, and explained that her mother and I had a quarrel, so I decided to take some time away so that we could both calm down. I counted to 10 in my brain, and then I showed her the receipt. I made a vow to her that I loved her and that I would continue to love her even after she shed a lot of tears. Despite the fact that I was sweltering on the inside, I did my best to maintain my composure. Not even my wife was there to greet me. Instead, I went to Facebook and located the woman who was married to the guy. I wrote her a message in which I informed her that her husband had been having an affair with my wife for a year and a half, and that I would be pleased to send her any proof that she would like to verify this information. She expressed her gratitude and had a sneaking suspicion that something was wrong. A few hours later, my wife rushed to me in a fit of wrath, yelling that I had failed to maintain the confidentiality of our therapy session and that I had ruined the life of the individual. I inquired about her intentions about the disclosure of the fact that I was dating someone to our kid. In spite of her denials, she continues to refuse to acknowledge that she disclosed any information to her other than the fact that I was absent for a few days. On Thursday of last week, something occurred. Since then, we have not communicated with one another. Tomorrow is the day when we are scheduled to have another therapy session, but I am not sure if it is even worthwhile to have that session. Despite the fact that I continually catch her in falsehoods, I don't believe that I will ever be able to trust her again. When I think about it, I feel sick to my stomach, even though I am aware that filing for divorce is the prudent choice at this moment in time. The fact that I was unable to make my marriage work together makes me feel like a failure. In spite of the fact that I'm aware that this is the final destination, I can't help but feel like I'm going to puke up every time I attempt to phone an attorney. Comment, acting up chatting. We are grateful for the update. I am sorry to read that therapy is only bringing more things to light, and it is evident that your faith in your wife has been utterly shattered as a result of her lying to you. I really hope that your wife wasn't the one to tell it to your daughter, but when people are sinking quickly, they will cling on to anything to keep them afloat, and turning the kids against you isn't exactly an innovative technique. I hope that your wife didn't tell that to your daughter. Despite the fact that the marriage has reached its conclusion, you are not a failure. It is highly recommended that you get in touch with the attorney at this time. No matter how challenging it may be, you should do it for yourself, for your children, and even for your wife, so that she can reach her lowest point on her own without wrecking your lives in the process. May you have success, sir. You are a resource. You should consult with a lawyer. Your wife started the relationship after she had already cheated on you or was about to cheat on you anyhow, if you're being completely honest with yourself. In the event that things did not go as planned, she did not want you to enjoy yourself while she was not. With no intention of doing so, she does not make any contributions to the household. Incessantly, she tells lies. What gives you the impression that anything would rectify this situation? It is important to believe someone when they reveal themselves to you. Either she gets her way or the highway. Therefore, as I mentioned before, you should consult with a lawyer, get your financial situation in order, and walk out of this terrible relationship. Oh my goodness, Lisa, you didn't fail, that's for sure. Your spouse had the intention of cheating, but she did not want to label it cheating. Never once did she want or anticipate that you would do the same. It is really manipulative of her to say that she would divorce you if you did not comply with her demands. The fact that she attempted to damage the relationship you have with your daughter is the conclusion that you have reached. The scenario is not one that I would consider to be fixable. Yet, you should never be too hard on yourself for any of this. It seems as though your wife is completely losing her mind, and although you have been trying to hold on for dear life, it may be time for you to let go. In addition, I would be completely honest with your daughter about the aforementioned circumstance. In light of the fact that everything will eventually be revealed, it is preferable to have the complete truth rather than rumors and lies. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.